Hi, Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and you probably just heard Rocky take a long snort. And I'm here to show you that the new catalog has come out, the holiday catalog. But what really impressed me was this page right here. If you've gotten a copy of my newsletter, you know that I feature the 25 products under $25. And this is where I started my holiday pre-order shopping. I started with this group of products because I want to show you in the next couple of weeks all the great things that you can do just shopping off this list, and hopefully you'll shop with me at StampArtConnection.com. So today I'm going to start with this #1 product right here, the Pressed Petals Journal. Here it is. This is what it looks like. It comes in a plastic, and it is $6.50. But what I want to show you today is what you can do with the Pressed Petals Journal. Look at that. They make wonderful, wonderful gifts or stocking stuffers for this holiday season. And I want to kind of show you some of the special things I've done. We're going to make this one right here. I used a number of stamp sets, and I just made the cover on this one, and I did put a couple of stuff inside, but I want to show you how pretty these can be. Now, the whole point of these journals are to leave room for photographs or for writing. So in this journal here, what I did is I embellished the inside. You can see how the marks are there compared to here. It's very plain. I embellished the inside there, very plain, but it's not plain in a bad way. It just leaves a place for someone to put a keepsake or for a photograph or something like that. The whole theme is grateful. And then this page, and I went ahead and I decorated that. Now I have a whole list of stamp sets that I used, and I used everything from Butterfly Wishes to Praiseworthy Prose, where I've got this wonderful comment right here about family. It gives a definition of family. Here I used so this is the Pressed Petals stamp set, and I just kind of put that in there with some Rococo Rose. Here I kind of embellished this, and I did a different stamp set here. I believe this is the Lovely as the Day stamp set here. And then I just kind of used a nice embellishment here. Again, I used the Versailles stamp here and our Butterfly Wishes. But you can kind of see, if you want to, some of the things that you can do to kind of dress up the journal, or if you want to kind of give it just the way it is, you can go ahead and do that, because it's just simply made to put photographs on it. So this is the undressed, and here it is kind of decorated. Here I use some of the pens from our crafter set, and the very Versailles, and then some pretty ribbon with some nice script. This is a wonderful set. This is a wonderful stamp, and I believe it comes from the, look at that beautiful script. I added a pen and some ribbon, and it really just kind of dresses up that page a little bit. Again, just simply adding some flourish. Again, some flourishes, some stamps for what family is. There I actually punched something out, and this actually covered a mistake I made, and I just kind of made that up. Wonderful little saying from one of our stamp sets. I will have all these on my blog. From the Magnolia stamp set here, kind of cut that out. Again, the pen with some pretty copper wire, and then using that pretty script that kind of falls in really nicely, and then some flourishes. And these are, if you notice, these are mossy meadow, and they're pretty flourishes that are added to the whole set. It kind of goes in really, really well. You can't even tell that they're different. I believe this is the Promenade, beautiful Promenade set, and I cut that out and I added some vellum leaves with the Vera Versailles leaves. More stamps and flourishes here to kind of dress up this page. This is from the Wild Rose, and this is the stamp set we're going to feature to make this right here. Not the woven, but the floral essence set. And I think I got off on my pieces and parts here. There's the end. And here is just kind of how I decorated it. So you can have a lot of fun with this journal. You can decorate it as much as you want or as little as you want, as long as you just have fun and give it as a stocking stuffer to a niece or a granddaughter or even a daughter, a friend that can have some keepsakes. And I put the ribbon on because as they add keepsakes, it can kind of hold everything in there. Here I use some of the Path of Petals paper, and I simply just cut those out, and then I added this, which is part of the number 6 in our 25 products. It's called the Crystal Shimmery Effects. So I cut these out of paper and then I covered them with the Crystal Shimmering Effects, and look how pretty that kind of came out. So this is the cover for this one, using this beautiful suite that comes with the pressed petals. Here's the lovely paper that it comes with, and then here is the stamp set that I use, and this is actually the whole bundle, the suite that is sold together in the catalog. Now, one of the neat things about this paper, and I just kind of want to point this out, because this beautiful petal paper right here that comes with this set, pressed petal specialty paper, it has a page where you can cut out some really beautiful images that you can use on any card. They're just really gorgeous, really, really pretty. And in fact, if you look in the catalog and we're going to go to the annual catalog right here. If we go to our annual catalog, and let me find the page. If you go to the Pressed Petals page in your catalog, here's the cover of the journal that I reproduced right here. And I will have this in my blog as to what pieces and parts I used to reproduce this journal cover. I also used this paper that I was featuring to recreate this card right here. Very easy. It's simply a piece of this card, of this wonderful DSP, with simply a very pretty cutout using one of our punches, and then I use some really pretty from ribbon. So there, it's very easy to put together. So I just wanted to show you some of the pieces that I've already put together featuring this set. You're going to need a brand new journal, and here it is, and we're going to cut this open. So we're going to need a brand new journal, and you can see here's the journal. You know, it's got beautiful pages, nothing's in it. And then I'm going to want this beautiful stamping cut emboss folder, which is a Scripty. This is going to create this beautiful vellum background. This is gorgeous, just gorgeous. I mean, look at the Look at the wonderful embossing that it provides. This is a definite keeper. You want to get this piece. It is gorgeous. You're also going to need the Wild Rose stamp set, and I believe we're going to use some of the framelits to cut out some of our shapes. And we're going to stamp on Whisper White, and you're also going to use the Very Versailles to create a background. And this is the stamp set that has that wonderful script. This is another really good stamp set. I would really encourage you to add that to your crafting stash. Now, going back to this, you're going to need this, and to do this card, we are going to need a piece of vellum, and this vellum is approximately 3.5 by 4 3/4, and that is going to go right there on top of our journal, and we're going to go ahead and emboss that. Then on top of that, we're going to have this card. It's going to be a 3 by 3 card, so this is going to be 3 by 6, and we're going to score it in the middle, and then we're going to layer a piece of Whisper White on top of it. So if that's 3 by 3, then this is about 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then this is by about 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So I have everything measured out, and again, I'll have everything in my blog, but then we're going to go ahead and we're going to stamp this background. Then we're going to need some Whisper White, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp our flowers. We're going to stamp 2 of these, and then we're going to put them on top of each other and stamp some leaves, and then that's going to be the top of our journal. Okay, so kind of gave you an overview of some of the neat stuff that is going on with this suite, showed you some neat paper, and what you're going to need to do this, as well as you're going to need some crumb cake ink. You're going to need some Rococo Rose, and of course you're going to need Mossy Meadow, and we're going to stamp everything with Memento Tuxedo Black. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to my Big Shot, and I'm going to run this through, and if you'll notice that the script goes across this way, so I want to put my vellum in this way and go ahead and run it through like that. And I just want to show you how really beautiful it comes out. I mean, look how pretty that is. That is just really gorgeous. I really love this effect on vellum. Okay, so we're going to put that aside because we have that layer done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our scoreboard here, and I want to score my Mossy Meadow. Now this was 6, so I'm going to score it at 3. Okay, so that is scored. And I'm going to grab my bone folder here, and I'm going to go ahead and fold that. So now I have 2 layers. I have this layer, and then I have this, which is going to go right there. Now I do have my white layer, which is layered there, and then I'm going to have some crumb cake there. So what I want to do with my crumb cake, let's go ahead and do this next, is I'm going to take my Very Versailles and this wonderful, this is your unclean stamp set. So I'm going to take this, and I've put my label on the back. I know I don't usually do that. I've got a great big block here. And what I'm going to do is, using my Mossy Meadow, I'm going to use the stamp off technique, and I'm just going to cover that piece. So I'm going to stamp off, stamp off. There it is. That's all I really need. If you want to add some more kind of in the corners, like I got a little bare corner right there, I can go ahead and do that. Okay, so that is my background for my card. So that's going to go like that. Okay, the stamps are a 3-step stamp process for the wild rose. We're going to stamp 2 of the roses, and we're going to stamp only 1 of the leaves. So I'm going to get a smaller piece of cardstock here, and I'm just going to put this aside, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp my leaves. So my first stamp is going to be in Memento Black, and then I'm going to go ahead and use my Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to use my lovely piercing mat to make sure that I get okay. So there are my leaves. Next, I want to stamp. I'm going to need 2 flowers. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to grab my line, and I'm going to make sure my block is clean. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp. Okay, so I have 2 flowers stamped there. So I'm going to go ahead and put the line piece away and my Memento Black. I'm not going to worry about that. That's a little bit light because remember I'm going to layer these. The next piece I want to put on the next step is I want to stamp my Rococo Rose. I'm using the same block here, and I'm going to this is going to be stamped off. I do not want to put this full strength, so I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to line this up, and the way I'm lining it up is that there's a little tip here of this petal right here that I'm lining up with that tip right there. So stamp, and then I'm lining it up right there. And there we go. So now we have the coverage on our flower. That is the second step. Now for the third step, I'm going to add more of the coloring, and this is going to be using my stamp pad full strength. Oops, sorry, full strength. And let's just kind of organize our stamp. So looking at our stamp right here, I've got this kind of curly Q, and this top of this curly Q lines up perfectly with that point of that flower. So let's just go ahead and do that, and let's line it up. And we're going to do the same. Let's go ahead and line it up. And there we go. So now we have our flower. So now I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to grab my leaves, and I have a kind of a background, and then I have a lot more detail, and you can just kind of look at them, and you can kind of see which one. This one has less detail, and then this one has more detail. So the one with less detail, we're going to take our Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to stamp off, and it fits perfectly there. Stamp off, and it fits perfectly there. Very easy. Look how beautiful that is. Then I'm going to grab my last stamp that has more of the detail, and this is going to be just a straight stamp using the full strength of ink. And you can see the lovely shadow that it provides, wonderful coloring that this two-step stamp process provides. There you go. Okay, so now we have our leaves and we have our flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to the Big Shot and cut them out. Okay, so here are my leaves. Got them cut out. There's my framelit. Here are my flowers. Have them cut out. And here is my framelits. I'm going to put those aside. So now I have my leaves and my framelits cut out right there. And these are going to go on top of each other like this. Now here in this sample I use one of the little fuzzy dots, but I want to do something different. And if you'll notice in the stamp set, you have a big fuzzy dot right here that is part of the stamp set for the middle. So I'm going to take this big fuzzy dot and I'm going to grab some of this really nice black glimmer, shimmery black. And I'm going to take this with the shimmery black and I'm going to grab some Versamark and I'm going to stamp that right there on the middle of my flower. Perfect. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Okay, so that takes care of that. Let me finish brushing off my work area. So now that I have that, I remember I'm going to layer these on top of each other. Let's bring in my sample. So I'm going to kind of, and they're going to be pretty much 1 to 1, right about there. But what I want to do is I am going to have to do some fussy cutting because I want to get as close to the black as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and just fussy cut some of this edge. That's going to be my bottom, and then I'm just going to kind of fussy cut this edge. It's going to be my top. And I'm going to take my flower and I'm just going to kind of just add some, what I didn't fussy cut off. Just going to kind of blend that white in. I'm going to take this flower that is going to curl and I'm going to kind of cut some some pieces, some petals here, and I may cut around here and I may cut around here because I want some of these petals to curl up. So I'm going to kind of, and it's okay if I leave some of this other stuff down, but I just kind of want to so there, I pretty much have most of these edges cut. I can do a little bit here, but I don't want to do too much. Maybe cut just a couple right here, not too deeply. And then I'm going to get my bone folder, and I'm going to grab the center of my flower, and I'm just going to go ahead and curl these edges up with my bone folder. And you can even curl one individually just to make sure you get kind of a nice curl with them. Let me back out a little bit so you can see what I'm going to do with this one. Same thing, but this one I'm going to more or less do each one a little bit individually, but be careful with these tiny little petals. Now I have a little piece that's hanging here. Just going to trim that off. And then I'm just going to kind of roll it together like that. So now I have my flower, and it really doesn't matter where I put it, but I have my flower right there. I can tighten this up a little bit if I want to, make that a little tighter. Kind of roll some of these smaller petals in, and that's why I kind of colored it on the inside. Okay, so there's our flower right there. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to secure that. And I think I used, I'm looking at my set, I think I used a piece of a dimensional. I'm just going to grab this dimensional, and we're going to go ahead again. Here they are lined up, but I'm going to put them, this is perfectly lined up, I'm going to put them a little bit askew like that. Okay, so then you can kind of see. There's our flower, okay? And that's going to go in the center of our piece right there. So now we're going to grab our journal, and I'm going to grab the this vellum, and I use just some really good all-purpose glue, which I'm going to go ahead and use for this side. And I kind of was a little bit, I might have been a little bit too generous with it, so you kind of have to be careful and kind of make it go kind of not very thick on the edges. So kind of scrape it into the inside and then put it right side up like this, right on your journal, like that. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and grab this piece, and I'm going to just grab some snail, and this piece is going to go right there, okay, for my little card. And then I'm going to grab this piece, and this piece is going to go right about there. And I'm going to put that right there. And this is going to go here. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing that I did with my flower. Here's my flower, which is going to go right there. Is I'm going to take my leaves Okay, so now I have my card, and I want to go ahead and I want to stick a leaf there and a leaf here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with some all-purpose glue. I'm going to stick this leaf right here. I'm going to stick this leaf right there, and then I'm going to make sure that I've got enough glue to stick my flower right there. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. Meanwhile, while that dries, we're going to cut about, I think we're going to cut about 12 inches of a ribbon, and we're using the linen ribbon. And let me make sure my hands are clean before I start touching linen ribbon. We're going to cut about 12 inches of linen ribbon. About that much. Let me see, what did I use here? Okay, and this looks to be about 20 inches, 16 and 4, about 22 inches. Okay, and this is where we're going to place our ribbon in between one of our slots here. I'm going to even it out and make sure I have it even, because I'm going to be able to tie a bow right here. And while it's there, I'm going to kind of lay it across like this, and then I'm going to grab my tear tape. I'm going to push this back because I know where my ribbon is going to fall, right? It's going to fall right here on these words right here. So I'm going to grab my tear tape, and I'm going to put my tear tape from there all the way across to about here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and lift this up. Then I'm going to lay this ribbon across like that. I'm going to turn this around, and I have this ribbon going along here. I'm going to line that up. I'm going to get another piece of tear tape, about that much. Now I like to do this. You don't have to do this, but I'm just going to go ahead and put a piece of tear tape right there to make sure I kind of keep this piece of ribbon adhered on the back. Then I'm going to lay this across there. Okay, so now I have my ribbon, and I can tie, you can see I have enough here, I can tie a nice bow. All right, then I'm going to put this, is now going to go on the top, and I'm going to use tear tape to put it on the top to make sure that it is secure. So I'm going to put a piece of tear tape there, and a piece of tear tape there. And I'll probably put another piece of tear tape right here just to make sure I've got things nice and secure. And let's just go ahead and pull up our tear tape. And I can go ahead and place this right there. And there you go. There's the cover of our journal, which is really the most important part, because now you can go inside and you can personalize your journal any way that you want, using any of your stamp sets or sentiments, depending on who you're gifting this journal to. But I just think that this is just a lovely project, featuring, in this case, we're featuring the wild rose set, and here this is featuring the wild rose set and the Very Versailles, and we've also featured the pressed petals. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and you can see how easy it is to put this gift together and gift it for the holidays as part of those items that are $25 and over. Or $25 and under, sorry. This is Kat Chancellor, Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like and share. And if you're looking for a demonstrator, please go on to my blog, and there's lots of information there that you can to sign up. And if you just want some good information, then please sign up for my newsletter. So happy stamping.